Okay, today we are going to talk about quadratic equations. This is an intro into quadratic equations. Quadratic equations are in the form that's up here. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, where a cannot be 0, so there's got to be an x squared no matter what. Other than that, it doesn't matter if there's an x or a number at the end. As long as it has an x squared, and that's the highest degree, it's going to be a quadratic equation. These equations make what are called parabolas. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next screen and show you what a parabola looks like. Okay, so right here is your basic graph of a parabola. I'll draw an arrow next to it. You can see that it makes a U. This one happens to open up. It can make a U that opens up or opens down. There are a few parts to a parabola that you'll have to know. And one of the first parts is the axis of symmetry. Okay, so I'll go ahead and draw a little arrow pointing to it. So it's this imaginary line that's straight up and down, this vertical line that divides the parabola in half. Okay, what happens is this axis of symmetry, when it divides this parabola in half, it creates something else at the bottom of this particular parabola called the vertex. So I drew an arrow at the bottom where the vertex is. The vertex is either the highest or lowest point on the parabola, depending on if it opens up and down. Okay, other parts of the parabola that I've labeled up here are the x-intercepts, which I'll draw two x's there. That's where the parabola crosses the x-axis. Okay, not all parabolas cross the x-axis, but if they do, they have x-intercepts. And then also I'll draw an x on the y-intercept where the parabola crosses the y-axis. Okay, what I've gone ahead and done, I went ahead and put a picture of a parabola. We're going to go through and try to label it. Okay, so again, this is a quadratic equation known as a parabola. Notice how this one opens up. So the first thing I'm going to label on the parabola is the vertex. Okay, so the vertex occurs at the highest or lowest point depending on how the parabola opens. So I drew a little point on the vertex. Okay, so that's your vertex. I'm going to go ahead and name that with a coordinate. So if I look here, I'm going over 3 to the right and then up 1. So my vertex would be 3, 1. Okay, if I'm looking at that. The next thing I'm going to label is the axis of symmetry. So that's the imaginary vertical line that divides the parabola in half. And that goes straight through the vertex. So if you see in red, I'm going to go ahead and draw that imaginary vertical line. That's my axis of symmetry. Okay, and that is an equation, and it's always x equals, because it's a vertical line. In this case, it's x equals 3. Okay, so that is my axis of symmetry. Notice on this parabola, it does not cross the x-axis. Okay, it does not cross the x-axis, so there are no x-intercepts. However, it does cross the y-axis right here. So it does have a y-intercept, so I'm going to abbreviate. So this one would have a y-intercept at the coordinates 0, that's my x-coordinate, and 7. That is my y-coordinate, okay, for the x-intercept.